Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most shocking and controversial stories in American politics right now, the Charlie Kirk case and everything that's unfolded since his tragic assassination back in September 2025. What we've seen in the months following his death has left pretty much everybody stunned. A lot of people thought that losing Charlie would actually make the Turning Point USA movement stronger, that his supporters would rally around the flag, come together even tighter, and turn his memory into this unstoppable force. But honestly, what's happened since then, especially at AmericaFest 2025 just a few days ago, has completely flipped that script. It's starting to look like the whole thing is falling apart from the inside, and a lot of fingers are pointing straight at his widow, Erika Kirk. How did she take over so fast? Why does everything feel so awkward and forced now? And is this really about carrying on Charlie's legacy, or is something else going on? If you believe the full truth about Charlie Kirk's death and what's happened to his movement needs to come out, stick around till the end of this video, hit that like button, and drop a comment saying, "We want justice for Charlie Kirk." Let's get into it. First off, let me remind everybody what happened. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was on stage at Utah Valley University doing one of his classic campus debates when a gunman walked up and shot him dead, right there in front of everyone. It was absolutely devastating. A young guy, only in his early 30s, full of energy, building this massive youth conservative organization, gone in an instant. Nation, the entire MAGA world went into mourning. Donations poured into Turning Point USA, attendance numbers for events spiked. Everybody was talking about how Charlie had become a martyr and how his death would only make the movement bigger and stronger. A lot of us thought the same thing. Tragedy like this usually unites people. But then came AmericaFest 2025 in Phoenix, just 3 months later in December, and wow. What we saw there told a completely different story. They billed it as the biggest AmericaFest ever. Over 30,000 people showed up, sold-out crowds, fireworks, big-name speakers like J.D. Vance, Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, Vivek Ramaswamy, even a surprise appearance from Nicki Minaj. On paper, it looked massive, but once you started watching the clips and listening to what people who were there had to say, it became clear something was seriously off. The whole event felt awkward, forced, almost cringeworthy at times. There were fights breaking out on the convention floor between the far-right Groypers and the old-school neocons who still want to hold on to the pre-Trump Republican Party. On stage, you had Tucker Carlson taking subtle jabs at Ben Shapiro right after Ben had thrown shade at Tucker for platforming people like Nick Fuentes. It was like an ideological civil war playing out in real time, and nobody was even trying to hide it anymore. People kept saying the same thing. If Charlie were still here, none of this would be happening. He was the glue that held all these different factions together. He had that unique ability to keep everybody on message, attacking the Democrats, staying unified, but without him, it's all starting to crack. And then came the moment that broke the internet, the Nicki Minaj interview with Erika Kirk. Why Nicki Minaj was even there in the first place is still a head-scratcher for a lot of people. She's a rapper, she's had her own political flip-flops over the years, but suddenly she's on stage at AmericaFest as a surprise guest, sitting down for a one-on-one with Erika Kirk. Nicki starts praising Donald Trump, calling him handsome and dashing, talking about how he's a great role model for young men. Then she turns to J.D. Vance and says, quote, "You have amazing role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president." The second that word assassin left her mouth, the entire arena went dead silent. Nicki froze. You could see it on her face. She instantly realized what she'd just said. She was using assassin as slang, like somebody who just kills it, dominates, does an amazing job. That's how rappers talk. But sitting across from her was Erika Kirk, whose husband had literally been assassinated 3 months earlier. Charlie Kirk was gunned down on stage. The word assassin in that context? It was beyond awkward. It was painful. Erika tried to smooth it over, saying something like, "Trust me, there's nothing new under the sun that I haven't heard, you're fine." And then, "I love you," trying to hug it out. But you could feel the tension. Nobody in the crowd laughed. Nobody clapped. There was just this long, excruciating silence while Nicki looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her whole. Clips of that moment went mega viral. Jimmy Dore called it the biggest public blunder he'd ever seen, worse than George Bush mixing up Iraq and Ukraine in front of Putin. People were saying it was the most cringe moment in political history, like if someone sat down with Jackie Kennedy 3 months after JFK's death and said, "Boy, I've got news that'll blow your head off." That's the level of insensitivity we're talking about. And the crazy part? Nicki kept trying to recover, but the damage was done. The whole interview just limped along after that, with both of them sitting there not knowing what to say next. But here's where it gets even more interesting. This wasn't the only massive slip-up at the event. Erika Kirk herself had a moment that a lot of people are calling a Freudian slip straight out of a movie. She was on stage presenting the very first Charlie Kirk Courage Award to a student named Caleb from Utah Valley University, the same school where Charlie was killed. She starts talking about how, despite the devastating loss of her incredible husband Charlie Kirk, Caleb has persisted with the same. And then she says, "Grift." Yeah, she actually said, "Grift." She immediately catches herself and goes, "Excuse me, gift, grit." Then she laughs it off with, "It's been a long day," and "Trust me, honey, you're not a grifter." But come on. The audience kind of chuckled, but online it exploded. People were like, did she really just accidentally call Turning Point USA a grift on stage at their own event? Because that's exactly what a lot of critics have been saying for years, that TPUSA under Charlie was more about fundraising and grifting off young conservatives than actual long-term political change. And now, his own widow lets grift slip out of her mouth while supposedly honoring his memory? That's the kind of thing you can't make up. A lot of commentators jumped on it right away. Jimmy Dore went off saying, Erika's subconscious just told the truth that the whole operation is a grift. And now that Charlie's gone, she's the one keeping it going. Others pointed out how quickly Erika moved into the spotlight after the assassination. Within weeks, she was doing a full media tour. Morning shows, podcasts, tearful interviews with boxes of Kleenex, talking about how the criticism never rolls off her back, how she carries it all with her. She positioned herself as this grieving widow carrying the torch. But then, at AmericaFest, she's wearing all white, glittery outfits that people said would make Liberace blush, massive fireworks displays, turning the whole thing into this glitzy celebration. They even recreated the spot where Charlie was assassinated so people could take selfies in front of it. Yeah, you heard that right? A photo op at a mock assassination site. A lot of people found that incredibly tone-deaf. 3 months after your husband is murdered and you're throwing what basically looks like a party with fireworks and celebrity guests? And let's talk about the hypocrisy that was on full display. Years ago, Charlie Kirk himself went on record criticizing Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, saying they weren't good role models for young black girls, that their music and behavior were causing dads to leave the home, or whatever his exact phrasing was. He was pretty harsh about it. Fast forward to now, and Erika brings Nicki Minaj on stage as a featured speaker to show how inclusive and big tent the movement is. It felt like a total 180, like they were trying to recreate that old Ice-T moment where he made Cop Killer and then years later became the most beloved TV cop to boomers. But it didn't land the same way. It just came off as desperate and awkward. Then you had J.D. Vance's speech, which was loaded with its own problems. He got up there and declared that America has been, and by the grace of God, always will be a Christian nation. The crowd ate it up, but a lot of people online immediately pointed out the hypocrisy. His wife, Usha, is Hindu, raised in a Hindu family, and their kids are being raised with both influences. So what exactly is he saying here? That his own family doesn't fully belong? It felt like red meat for the Christian nationalist crowd, but it alienated others. Vance also talked about how in the days after Charlie's death he stayed up all night watching every video of the assassination, going down every conspiracy rabbit hole, trying to find clues. He said he felt like he owed it to Charlie to turn over every stone. But noticeably, he never condemned the far-right racism that's been festering in parts of the movement, especially the stuff aimed at his own wife. Nick Fuentes' Groypers have been calling Usha all kinds of vile slurs, and J.D. Vance has stayed pretty much silent on it. Meanwhile, Vivek Ramaswamy, who's now running for governor of Ohio, got up on that same stage and delivered the clearest condemnation of the Groypers anyone has heard from a major MAGA figure in a long time. He straight up said if you think Hitler was pretty cool, If you look up to Stalin, if you call Usha Vance racist slurs, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. And if you can't say that without stuttering, you shouldn't be a leader. It was strong, direct moral clarity, the kind a lot of people wish J.D. Vance had shown to defend his own wife. But Vance didn't. He stayed quiet on the far-right extremism, eating away at the movement while taking little snipes at Ukraine aid, saying we should honor our fathers and mothers instead of shipping all their money overseas. That line got big applause, but it's based on disinformation. Most of the aid to Ukraine under Biden was old equipment, not cash, and the new Lend-Lease style program under Trump is designed to be paid back. It just felt like more culture war red meat without addressing the real fractures inside the tent. All of this, the infighting, the awkward moments, the slips of the tongue, the hypocrisy, has led a lot of observers to the same conclusion. Charlie Kirk really was the one holding everything together. He had the charisma, the work ethic, the ability to keep all the different factions, the neocons, the MAGA diehards, the far-right edgelords, marching in the same direction. Without him, it's all coming apart. Erika Kirk stepped in as CEO almost immediately, and she's trying hard. The media blitz, the big events, the emotional speeches, but a lot of people are saying she just doesn't have the same leadership pull. The grift slip, the over-the-top outfits, the tone-deaf photo ops, the decision to platform someone like Nicki Minaj after Charlie himself criticized her, it all adds up to a picture of an organization that's lost its center. Some are even questioning whether AmericaFest will still be happening in 5 or 10 years, or if Turning Point USA as we knew it will slowly fade away. Look, nobody's celebrating Charlie's death. It was a horrific tragedy, and he left behind a young family. But what's happened since then has raised some serious questions about where the movement is headed and whether Erika Kirk is the right person to lead it. Is this still about Charlie's vision of activating young conservatives on campus, or has it turned into something else? More about keeping the donations flowing, the events selling out, the grift rolling along. That Freudian slip says a lot, even if she didn't mean to say it out loud. The Nicki Minaj moment showed how raw the grief still is and how careful you have to be, but also how maybe the people running the show right now aren't being careful enough. We've got record attendance, big fireworks, celebrity guests, J.D. Vance endorsing Erika for the long haul, but underneath it all there's this growing sense that the coalition Charlie built is crumbling. The civil war between the Groypers and the establishment wing isn't going away. The moral clarity on racism and anti-Semitism isn't coming from the top, and the whole vibe of AmericaFest 2025 just felt off, like a party nobody was really in the mood for. So, what do you guys think? Is Turning Point USA going to survive long-term without Charlie, or is this the beginning of the end? Can Erika Kirk step up and become the unifier her husband was, or is the movement too fractured now? And most importantly, do you think we'll ever get the full truth about what happened to Charlie Kirk and why? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you want more coverage of the conservative civil war. I've got a lot more clips and breakdowns coming. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. We're going to keep following this story because it's not over yet. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Whatever you think of his politics, nobody deserves what